What's up, everyone? It is Denise Salcedo. Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. And oh my God, today we are going to talk about AEW Dynamite Road Rager. And what a night, guys. I got to tell you, flat out, in all honesty, I am so happy when, we have great entertaining wrestling shows. But on the other hand, it stresses me out. It stresses me out because there is so much to talk about here today. If you did not watch AEW Dynamite, all I got to say is definitely make some time to watch it because so much went down. If you watched AEW Dynamite, chances are you're here to hear what I have to say, to hear what the chat has to say about all of the events that unfolded. So let me just start off by saying that I was expecting a good show today. I was expecting a fun show today, but AEW definitely over-delivered because I wasn't expecting everything that went down here tonight. So ladies and gentlemen, before we jump into the show, we do run through things chronologically here because it just makes things so much easier. But I do want to give you guys all a heads up. This is a very interactive show. Throughout the show, I will be reading your thoughts and your comments on the events that unfolded tonight, especially a night like this. However, because we are going to get a couple of comments here today, if you want to make sure your comment gets read on the air today, you can definitely go ahead and send in a super chat. If you send in a super chat, your comment will be read on the air. And it's just a great way to, get your input in here on the show. And also, I do get to keep 100% of the proceeds from super chats. So if you guys want to help, help me out a little bit, you are more than welcome to send in a super chat. But guys, I'm so excited. I don't even know where to start. All right, so here we go, everybody. Let's talk. I'm going to kick things off with the super chats, and then we're going to go ahead and kick it off at the top of the show, and we're going to discuss everything, guys. So stress levels are definitely high up there, but we have our first super chat of the day. Thank you so much to the Shadow Ranger who says, Denise, 6 months in, what are your thoughts on the AEW Impact crossover? So I'll be real with you. I think that I was expecting maybe a little bit more with the AEW Impact crossover. Obviously, we've gotten some cool matches, most of which have been with, obviously Kenny Omega and all of that. I would like to see maybe just a little bit more, but I think for the most part, it's been okay. I like it. I like, obviously, the vignettes that, Tony Khan had, the ads that were airing on Impact. I liked all of that. All of that was cool. I would like maybe, just a couple more matches I think that they could throw in, maybe include some of their, younger talent on Impact. I think that would be pretty awesome. And I've talked about that before. So I do think that would be something to do. But thank you so much to the Shadow Ranger for sending in the first super chat of the day. We have a couple more, and boy, everybody has something different to talk about here today. We have one from Anthony Diaz who sends in a super chat and says, why does AEW keep rushing the segments? So, look, there are times where and I've come on here onto the show and I will say like, oh, you know what? AEW should have let this moment breathe a little bit longer. And we have discussed that on different occasions, but I don't necessarily think I felt that way today because I just think they had so much planned and it really kept this very fast-paced energy throughout the show. It was a very entertaining show that moved very, very fast, and I like that. So I didn't think that there was a moment today, and maybe if you guys had one that you were thinking about, for sure send it in here and let me know, but at least on my end, I didn't really feel like there was something that they didn't really let breathe, at least on my end. But thank you so much to Anthony Diaz for sending in this super chat. And we actually have a couple more. This one is from Khaled Adam who says, hi, Denise, thoughts on the drunk fan run-in? So for those of you guys who do not know, there was a drunk fan that tried to run into the Jericho MJF segment. A guy had a little too much fun at Road Rager because he ended up getting taken down by the security. There is fan videos that are posted up on Twitter, on social media. As you guys know, those videos start to float around everywhere. I retweeted some over on my Twitter page, so they're there if you want to see them. But this fan essentially made it, from the looks of the video, from the fan video, the fan made it onto the rampway. And like even Jericho was just like, taunting him, telling him stuff, whatever. And then afterwards, you essentially see him be taken down. Then there's another video where he's just on the ground and security has him. And you know what? Guy just ruined himself a good night. But you know what? There's crazy people out there in this world that just do crazy stuff. I kind of find it a little bit entertaining, but there you go. Thank you so much to Colette Adam for sending in a super chat. We have another super chat. This one is from Sean Isriani, who says, my only complaint of tonight's show is that the Bucks shaved off their mustaches, a negative 9.8 out of 10. You know what? When I first started reading your super chat, I thought, oh my God, somebody had a complaint. What is the complaint? But now that I see your complaint, I definitely understand. I got to say, I'm happy. As I said last week, I am not a fan of the mustaches, but that is just my personal female taste coming in here. Thank you so much to Sean for sending in this super chat. All right, guys, so let's do this. We're going to kick things off with the opening match of the night, and it was QT Marshall versus Cody Rhodes in a South Beach strap match. So let's talk a little bit about what happened here. Cody Rhodes, first to come out, got the big reception from the people, the big pop of the night. As you all know, usually the first person who comes out, especially on a show like this, where, you know, they're back on the road, they're in Miami, and, you know, the people are just ready to enjoy pro wrestling in a live setting once again. So he gets the first pop. And okay, so when Cody came out, when his music hit, I thought for a second, I thought that the crowd reaction was going to be predictable for him. For some reason, you know, I was at AEW Double or Nothing, and even though there were obviously people in Jacksonville that were cheering Cody Rhodes and all of that, for the most part, there was at least a little bit more than half the crowd that was just kind of there. Like, they didn't cheer, they didn't boo, then there was people booing, then there was some people cheering. But I won't go ahead and say that at that show, everybody was cheering Cody Rhodes. So I think I was expecting a similar crowd reaction to Cody Rhodes tonight, but that definitely was not the case. In fact, Cody Rhodes was loved throughout this match. People were cheering for him. They were chanting Cody. They popped when he won the match. And with that being said, so we jump into this South Beach strap match. Obviously, QT Marshall versus Cody Rhodes necessarily hasn't been the hottest feud per se, okay? I don't think anybody here, at least from the people that come into my chat every week, I don't think that there's a lot of people, you know, ready to jump off a building because they're so excited to see this match. Not necessarily, okay? But so given that, I think that the crowd is really what made this match, okay? I thought this strap match was okay. It was fine. I didn't think it was a blowaway match by any means, but the crowd and their investment in this, their excitement in this match was really what took it to another level, where as a viewer back home, I'm thinking, you know what? I should be a little bit more excited about this. Why? Because they're excited. They're getting me excited. And so definitely I got to give credit where credit is due, and credit is due to the fans there, because they definitely brought this match to another level. But we essentially see them, throughout this match right away at the top. Cody hits a tope suicida before they even get strapped in. They get strapped in. You have to get all four corners in order to win. During this match, we see them obviously utilize the strap. They utilized it a little bit more mid-ways. They do get obviously tangled with it at the top of this match. We see Cody go for a hurricanrana from the top rope, but QT Marshall counters it and does a power bomb off of the top rope. And during this match, guys, so here's the thing, is that in hindsight, we all know what happened. But during this match, we saw the lights go out. And I thought, oh my God, what the hell is going on? It was very, very well played, to the point where you can think, well, maybe it was the venue where they were at. Maybe there was some sort of, technical error. The world isn't perfect. We all know that. I saw a bunch of people on Twitter saying there was a storm in Miami. I have no idea. I'm not in Miami, all right? I'm in sunny California, so I have no idea what's going on in Miami. But people are saying, oh, there's a storm. And then commentary was talking about a storm. And I'm thinking, all right, whatever. It has to do with the storm. I got worked, everybody. And if you're going to come on here and say you didn't get worked at least for a second, I'm going to have to call you out on that because I completely got worked with this. We're going to talk about that more later, but this is the first moment of the show that we see the lights go off. Anyways, back to the match. We end up seeing Cody essentially hit the Cody cutter, and then he ends up winning the match with 3 crossroads, and that was the match. Again, the crowd really elevated this match much more. What did you guys think of the South Beach strap match? Send in your thoughts. We have a super chat from Tejas Reg who says, is it me or something about AEW Dynamite was a bit off tonight? Felt more like an indie show than Dynamite. I won't say that. I think that saying that AEW was a bit off tonight is probably the wrong way to say it. I think you can say that their show was definitely different. And that was actually one of the things that Tony Khan touched on when he did the press conference at AEW Double or Nothing. He was asked this question. He was asked about how the format of AEW was going to change once they were back on the road. And he was very happy to answer that because obviously, you're now creating a show that is on the move, that is touring. So it's going to have to be presented a lot differently. And I think that today was a perfect example of maybe this new vision and this new way that Tony Khan and AEW is essentially going to be presenting the show. So I don't think that it felt off. It felt different because, again, it looks like they're going for a different dynamic on this show. So thank you so much to Tejas for sending in this super chat here. And we actually have another super chat. This one is from Francis Ivan Tria, who says, great show. Greetings from the Philippines. Thank you so much to all of my viewers from whatever part of the world that you are from. I love the internet. I love what it does because we get to meet people from all over the world. So shout out to Francis and thank you for sending in this super chat here. And let's see what else we got here. All right. Let me make sure I got some of your comments. All right. So I'm going to go through some of your comments and see how you guys felt of this match. So I'm going to scroll through a couple. Again, if I missed your comments, send them in because I do try to read a couple of them. I'm going to pull this one up from Mark, who says that he thought that the strap match was great fun, that it was old school, but we didn't really need the solo Dustin bit as it added nothing. Didn't take away from the enjoyment though. And this is a comment from Mark. This is another comment from R. Riggs who says, I figured they'd used it to give Marshall time to blade and it was going to foreshadow something big later on with the lights again. We did see QT get busted open during this match as well. So I kind of like, the incorporation. I'm always a fan of, adding blood and whatnot to what you're doing, especially a strap match. I do think that the added addition of the blood definitely works. This is a comment from Cayman Weaver who says that the first moment they saw the lights out, they knew it had to be Tommy End. There is no way. I mean, I believe you, but I don't believe you. Maybe I can't. I read the reports that people were saying that he was there or that at least people were talking about him being there and all of that. But still, I thought they played it off really well where I definitely did not suspect it whatsoever. Okay. I definitely did not expect it whatsoever. And okay, let me go ahead and I think I got quite a few. All right, guys. Let's move on. We're going to move on to the next segment here. And after this, we had a quick backstage segment where Sammy attacks Sean Spear with a chairs. She says, got you, BITCH, and notes that this is far from over. After this, we have a pretty fun segment. And I'm just going to start off by saying that one of the things that made AEW great today was that it was not only entertaining, but it was also it gave off this vibe of being very cool and very edgy, okay? By cool and edgy, we had a lot of promos that essentially, and we're going to talk about them, but we had a lot of promos that had some really great one-liners on top of a great delivery. There was not one person here today that did not cut a solid promo, and there was not one person that I wouldn't say blew me away. And there were a couple of people that I was just like, dang, with some of the things that they had to say. And this kind of really took off during this next segment, which was the Tony Schiavone sit down here. Actually, wait, hold on one, guys. I'm jumping the gun here. Anyways, but before we get to that, we have this sit down, the Tony Schiavone sit down with Kenny Omega that takes place on the actual ring. So it's not really a sit down per se. But Don Callis starts off by telling Tony, hey, go to your corner, go over there. Okay. So Don says, I'm going to start giving a history lesson. And he starts telling us about the things that Kenny Omega has done in the last several months. He starts chanting. He starts talking about how he's defeated Rey Fenix, how he's defeated Jungle Boy. Once again, he reiterates the fact that he has no challengers. And this is where the live crowd comes into play, because the live crowd was definitely on it today. So during this, they start chanting at Don Callis about how he got fired. Don Callis is like, real men don't quit, they get fired. So there was a really, really nice interaction there with Don, Kenny, and the live audience, which makes me so happy, because when you're going different places, you have different flavors of people coming into the show. Each city is going to bring something new. And, I think that, as much as we all like the Jacksonville audience, it was something that we were seeing so much that this crowd felt very, very different. Obviously they were chanting different things. They were excited about, a lot of stuff. So we saw that here. Then the crowd starts chanting Hangman Page over and over again. And I just thought, this is fantastic. Evil Uno comes out and asks Kenny Omega, why is he ignoring the crowd? Why is he ignoring that Page should be challenging him for the belt? He starts questioning Kenny Omega. Why are you so afraid? I did kind of think that this made a little bit, didn't make a lot of sense, because just last week they had this segment, and then you had essentially Hangman Page kind of afraid, or at least not fully convinced to actually confront Kenny Omega. So I did think this one was a little bit off, but we still ran with it. We then see the Good Brothers and Michael Nakazawa come out and attack the Dark Order. Hangman Page finally comes out to a massive pop from the people here at Road Rager and takes out the Good Brothers. And then, ladies and gentlemen, take out the bread, take out the butter, put it together, and this was better than that, because we had a stare down from Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, okay? It was a stare down. I was like screenshotting. I was excited. And obviously this was the moment that a lot of us were predicting we were going to end up at. Kenny Omega, Hangman Page. A lot of us predicted this. A lot of us saw it coming, but we really didn't know the timing of things or when this was actually going to go down. And it went down tonight. So we have this. Carl Anderson ended up distracting Omega, ended up causing a distraction, which allowed Omega to escape this onto the ramp. But during this, commentary was obviously teasing the fact that, hey, we might be seeing Hangman Page go for the title, and I think it's a safe assumption to make. This was bloody awesome. This is exactly what the fans want, and it was the perfect tease for a show like this with an, back on the road touring, and obviously heading into Chicago and all of that. So this was a perfect way to tease that match. How did you guys feel about this? How excited are you guys about Kenny Omega, Hangman Page? We have a super chat. This one is from Charlie Sanchez. Thank you so much to Charlie, who says, I love that Tommy End debut, especially the small lights out tease. Y el debut de Andrade fue excelente, pero esos pantalones no sé. So for those of you guys who don't speak Spanish, Charlie essentially says that he liked the debut of Andrade, that it was excellent, but that he's not crazy about the pants. I want to thank you, Charlie, for this super chat, and I will get into Andrade's debut once we get there, but thank you so much for sending this in. And we have another super chat. This one is from Fact Channel, who says, Kenny's outfit was amazing. He had like, it was like a dark colored, like sort of like zebra stripes. I'm not too sure how to describe his pants, but the point is you got to have a big ego. You got to have a lot of confidence to wear pants like that. I know I'm not walking down the street wearing pants like that, but you know what? It's Kenny Omega. And this is the thing, is that obviously, you know, guys like the Good Brothers, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, they have found ways to elevate their heel personas, and they're doing so by using fashion. And I'm a big fan of how they've incorporated fashion into their heel personas, and I think that is bloody awesome. So thank you so much to a Fact Channel for sending in this super chat. Once again, guys, if you want to make sure your comment gets read on the air, feel free to send in a super chat. I do get to keep 100% of the proceeds, so I can still keep my AC on when I'm doing these shows. But let's see what you guys thought about this show. About this segment here. Let's see. We got a comment from the Cooge97 who says, Kenny and Hangman have so much storyline history going back to New Japan Pro Wrestling a few years back. Hey guys, we're always talking about long-term storytelling. There it is. Justin Martin says, mega reaction for Adam Page. It's obvious this is a title match everyone wants to see. It's going to be incredible when it happens. Hell yeah. And look, I'm just going to say, I want to see Hangman Page whenever he goes for that championship. I want to see him win. And when and if he does, that crowd is literally going to go wild, okay? They're going to go bananas, and it's going to be fantastic. And that's not a bold prediction. That's a very obvious prediction, okay? Bloody Blues points out that he loves that Hangman didn't deliver the buckshot lariat. It was a nice build. Exactly. Leave us wanting more. They say more, sometimes less is more. I think that is the perfect saying here with this Hangman Kenny Omega stare down. That is definitely what I feel we were getting at here. All right, let's see what else we got here. And this is the comment from the Raging Archer HD, who says, until Black. My favorite moment of the show was Bangkok. Yeah, that line about Bangkok was pretty funny. Like I said, guys, there is definitely a lot of good one-liners here today. Okay, guys, a lot of good one-liners. Alrighty, everybody, we're going to go ahead and move on. But for those of you guys who are here, friendly reminder that if you did not know already, I am here 3 times a week. I am here talking about NXT on Tuesdays, then AEW on Wednesdays, and then my most chill show of the week is Friday night Smackdown. A really, really good time. For those of you guys who have not tuned into my show, or the regulars, you guys already know. I bore you with this stuff. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on. All right, we got a quick sit down here with Jim Ross, Ethan Page, and Darby Allin. Next week, we are going to be getting the coffin match with him, with them in Austin, Texas. So we're going to be moving on to Austin, Fyter Fest Night 1. And basically this starts off with JR basically saying that he's uncomfortable because both of these men have really talked about ending each other's career, and that makes them, uncomfortable. They kind of talk about, how the impact each of these guys have had on one another's career. Darby tells Ethan Page that it's obvious that Ethan couldn't stand the fact that Darby got to AEW first. Page tells him that he's the one who plucked him from obscurity, says he has, that without him, he would be nothing in this business. I'm looking forward to that coffin match. I know it's going to be something very exciting. The Darby, when he had his run as TNT champion, he was having nonstop back-to-back good matches, and they were all very different. Ethan Page, I think, might feel like he has something to show for himself. This is a very, very big match, in front of these new AEW Dynamite viewers. He only recently came into the company, so I feel like he has a lot to prove himself here in front of the AEW fans. So this is definitely the match to show what he can do. So I'm looking forward to Page and Darby. That is for sure. And we have a comment from Patrick who says, it started with Darby looking really good, but Ethan did a good job to look strong in this promo too. And that's the thing, is that we already expect certain things from Darby, and because it's just Darby, and he does cool stuff, and people get behind him very easily. It doesn't take a lot to get behind a guy like Darby. But Ethan Page is obviously gonna have to do a little bit more to sort of be seen on the same level as Darby. And I thought that with this promo work that he did tonight, he definitely made sure that he didn't look like he was the one that was essentially, not looking as strong as Darby. He made sure that they were on par with each other, and that is exactly what you want to see heading into this match. So I thought that was very phenomenal. We have a comment from Haj Gulashi who says, great segment to get the coffin match hyped. The Darby was there. First angle was smart. Yeah, good stuff all around with that. And we have a comment from Josh Bowen who says, Ethan isn't on Darby's level. Darby is the future of AEW, but there is no harm whatsoever in having at least Ethan Page deliver this promo that equally matches Darby to get people invested in the match that they are going to have next week with their coffin match. You don't want to go into the match just basically feeling like you already know what's going to happen. You already know who's going to win and you don't even care, blah, blah, blah. No, you want to make sure that they actually give you a moment of hesitation to think, what if? And I think that they've done a pretty good job with the coffin match builds up. So I really like that. Let's see what else we got here. We got a comment from Tyler who says, expecting Darby to have a lot of amazing moves for the match. I did like his lines about how Ethan was afraid to leave his hometown and have kids. Add some realness. I like that too. I thought that was a very good thing to add to his promo there. I thought it was fantastic. Alrighty, so here we go, guys. Let's go ahead and move on. So after this, we had the trios tag team match. This was Jake Hager, Santana, and Ortiz with Conan versus Wardlow, FTR, and Tully Blanchard with Wardlow and FTR. So I'm going to be real with you guys here. I thought this match could have been a lot better. I thought it was a match with a couple of great moments, or maybe at least some good moments. So we see Santana and Dax essentially kick off this match. Both of them exchange punches. Santana hits him with a couple of suplexes and hits him with a standing moonsault. The Inner Circle kind of had the upper hand here until they went to commercial break. Once we came back from commercial break, we kind of saw most of this match ended up being more of Jake Hager and FTR and Wardlow. Hager takes out FTR and then ends up going at it with Wardlow. And they have this really awesome moment where they're both exchanging back and forth punches. Hager then gets him with an ankle lock that is quickly broken up by FTR. And so then FTR ends up getting Hager with a big rig, and Wardlow is able to pin Hager. So that was kind of it for this match. I was expecting a little bit more. However, I think it's very obvious that we're either going to see this match again or a variation of this match again. So this kind of was just like a little tease. And then given everything else that they had planned for this show, I could tell that there was not maybe so much time to give to this match. It was an okay match, nothing more than that. But afterwards, we do see Conan attack Wardlow after the match, but Tully ends up chop blocking him from behind. So that was a pretty fun little thing there. All right, guys, what did you think? Let's get a couple of comments here. And let's see. This is another comment from Haj Gulashi who says, I agree it was a good match, but felt sloppy at times, and the ending felt a bit flat. Yeah, I would agree with that. We have a comment from A Semper Fidelis who says, I fast forwarded this match. I feel I've seen it once or twice in the last few months. Wrestle War did not think this was great and that the flow was a bit off. It felt off because they kind of just like eliminated Santana and Ortiz, but in a way that wasn't so definite, where all of a sudden it was Jake Hager and practically Jake Hager by himself. It just wasn't, it wasn't cohesive. Sticker Red says, this is the match when I started looking at my phone. Oh, we all know those matches. See, I've been there before where there's certain matches where I'm starting to like look somewhere else or zone off. I didn't have any of those today. So thank goodness, because I don't like that, because I got to stay on my toes, watching multiple shows a week, you got to stay on your toes, make sure you're paying attention to everything, because you got to be the one to come out here and talk about it. So there you go. We have a super chat. Thank you so much to Linnea D. And I hope I said your name properly, but Linnea says, love what you do, Denise. So sending a super chat. Thank you so much. Continues to say, can't wait to see Tommy End live when AEW comes to New York City. While I'm happy his wife is happy in WWE, it would have been good to have her on AEW too. That is definitely a conversation there to have. It's definitely, an interesting topic. Obviously, we don't know all of the details that went on behind the scenes. If Zelina Vega, and I know that Tony Khan had interest in Zelina Vega because he mentioned that in a couple of interviews or in an interview or something. But the point is that he did mention that he was going to be hitting her up essentially when her 90 days were up, right? But with that being said, I was shocked that she went back to WWE. Obviously, we know that the way that, she left the company was not just it was very complicated, okay? It was a very complicated thing, okay? So then, now she's back, and then, obviously Aleister Black was then released, and it was this whole fuzzy story. So the point that I'm trying to get at here is that I'm surprised that she didn't go to AEW, considering that she might have had a little bit more freedoms with things that she could do, outside of wrestling. So that is a very surprising to me, but you know what? It looks like they made it work on both ends. So it is what it is. Thank you so much to Linnea D for sending in this super chat. I appreciate you. And we actually have another super chat from Christopher Marino, a regular on here, who says, sadly, I'm already bored with the Pinnacle versus Inner Circle. This feud has lowered Pinnacle. They no longer feel special. They feel very mid-card. So I think the issue with this, and we've talked about this as well, is that, a lot of people can say that they feel like, the Pinnacle Inner Circle story was sort of told backwards. And because it was told backwards, it's kind of like you already saw like the big blow off between these guys, at Stadium Stampede, at Blood and Guts. And now, Jericho obviously mentioned that these guys are essentially going to be going off into their own stories and, wrestling one another. But the Pinnacle Inner Circle, feud is essentially the backbone behind the history with these matches. So it's a very different direction to go in. But I do think that because the story is sort of being told backwards, that it is maybe affecting some people, where now it's starting to feel like it's drawn out and like that's it. However, they are coming up with interesting ways to keep it hot. And we'll talk about those interesting ways later on in tonight's show. But thank you so much to Christopher Marino for sending in this super chat here. I thank you very much for sending that in. All right, guys. So Carl Anderson cuts a promo. He says that Jon Moxley had been a big problem for the Good Brothers, and then he challenges Moxley. He challenges him to a match for the IWGP United States Championship next week on Fyter Fest Night 1. That match was later made official. I think that that's going to be a pretty good match. Carl Anderson can have some bomb matches, and I think he's going to have some bomb match with Jon Moxley. So that's definitely going to be something to look forward to next week. And if tonight is any indication of what the future of AEW Dynamite is going to look like now that they're touring, it's looking pretty good, everybody. It's looking pretty good. Alrighty, guys, but now let's move on to probably one of my favorite segments of the night and made the show feel pretty effing cool. So we had the MJF Chris Jericho standoff to essentially announce the stipulation for Chris Jericho to eventually have a match with MJF. And again, this was basically said in advance that if Jericho loses this next match that he has with MJF, he has to leave MJF alone forever. But now, let's get to the actual stipulation, because as we were just talking about right now, with Christopher's super chat that he brought up about the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle and the story that they've been telling, they sort of found a way to elongate this Jericho MJF thing. And here's what happened. So, friendly reminder again, a fan tried crashing this at the top of this segment. That fan got taken out by security very quickly. Immediately, 5 seconds in, MJF is already calling the crowd, quote, fat white trash Hicks. And I could not stop laughing because it's MJF and MJF says crazy things like that. Jericho then, he hits us with this line, and it isn't even line of the night. It's not even line of the night, guys. Jericho tells MJF that he'll do anything, any match stipulation that MJF wants. He starts naming a couple. And then he says that he'll even have sex with his mother. Again. That he will even have sex with MJF's mother again. And turns out mom jokes still work in 2021 because this got a pop. The crowd started chanting, "Who's your daddy?" And again, a great moment with the crowd trusting their instincts and, throwing in these chants that really just make wrestling great. MJF starts telling Jericho that he's not even in the key demo, so why should he even call himself the demo god? Obviously referring to his old age. And then he starts talking about Greek mythology. MJF starts saying that growing up, his favorite Greek mythology story was called The Labors of Hercules. And thus, the inspiration for the stipulation for his match with MJF came about. And basically saying that Jericho will have to go through 5 labors. So the first 4 labors are essentially 4 matches that he is going to have with 4 different opponents of MJF's choosing. And each of those 4 matches are going to have 4 different stipulations, again, of MJF's choosing. So now, if Jericho can defeat all 4 of those opponents in any of those given stipulations that MJF is going to put on these, then he can have the 5th and final match with MJF, or he has to leave him alone. So I personally am a fan of this. Again, they found a way to stretch this story out. Obviously, that's going to take a good, amount of time there to do these these first 4 matches, and I'm obviously assuming he's going to get to the last one. I think that's a safe prediction to make, but who knows? Maybe not. We don't know. But anyways, they found a good way to stretch this out, okay? I like it. I thought this was a good concept. I like the way that it was incorporated, and it really just adds to, MJF's way of manipulating Chris Jericho and really making him go through all of this hell to actually even get to this match here. Afterwards, they shake hands, and because MJF says that's the way they do it back home. Jericho hits them with the Judas effect. What do you guys think about all of this? Let's see. Let's see what we got here. This is a comment from Mr. EMJ who says, "The labors of Jericho, they better make the stipulations of each match interesting, or it will be the downfall of this feud." I hope, I can't see, here's the thing, is that obviously they've been doing this for a while, okay? But because MJF and Jericho have this really good chemistry that is simply undeniable and very, very entertaining, I feel like if you're going to stretch this out with any 2 guys, I think Jericho and MJF are good ones to do so. I feel like no matter what, that story, that history, that richness of this chemistry between MJF and Jericho for the rest of time is always going to be there. It's always going to be there. Like in 20 years from now, it's going to be there. Maybe that's a lot of time, but what I'm trying to say is you're always going to think of MJF and Jericho when you think of their time in AEW. At least that's how it feels for me, in my opinion. All right, let's see what else we got here. Simray G Punk says that he believes that this is going to end in a retirement match. This will be interesting, and maybe... See, I don't know. I think Jericho has said that he wants to wrestle a lot longer. I'm not exactly sure what his future plans are, but I could see why you would say that, especially because MJF has been making a lot of nods to being the future of AEW, or excuse me, being the now of AEW. He has mentioned that, but he's talked about the future a lot. And also he has talked about, basically Jericho being old and all of that. So that is an interesting An interesting thing to add there. An interesting theory. We have a comment from TZ Mary who says Jericho and MJF are gold anytime they get together. Exactly. And that is why I feel like no matter what, that's always going to be there. And this is a comment from Lenny who says, Jericho said he wants to keep going and return to New Japan. So yeah, I doubt he ends his time with AEW. We have a comment from Q going pew pew who says, feels like Jericho is giving MJF the feud he wished he got with Kevin Owens. MJF's going to come out of this looking like one of the most important guys in the company. He kind of already, he's obviously going to raise. MJF is one of those guys that you look forward to. You don't change the channel when MJF comes. If you're at the show, you don't go to the bathroom when MJF comes out. So in that sense, he feels important, but I get what you mean here by taking it to the next level where he's going to be one of those, real big time household names in AEW history. And obviously we don't know what moves MJF is going to make in the future, but he is definitely a star. Definitely a star, and a very unique star at that. There is nobody doing what MJF is doing at the level that MJF is doing that, okay? In the ring and outside of the ring, MJF does things very, very differently, okay? Very, very differently. All right, guys, and make sure, friendly reminder, again, if you want to make sure that I read your comment and you're like, dang it, Denise, you're not seeing my comment and my comment is brilliant, you can go ahead and send in a super chat and your comment will definitely be read here today. Let's see if we got anything else. I think I got most of it, guys. Again, I kind of just skimmed through these and try to, point out which ones it looks like you guys are talking about what we're talking about here. All right, guys, but let's do this. We're going to go ahead and move on. And before I move on to the next segment, for those of you guys who are watching on the live stream, whether it be Twitch or YouTube or listening to the audio replay of this, friendly reminder, do not forget to follow me on Twitter and or on Instagram at _ Denise Salcedo. I am tweeting all day long. I have a Twitter addiction. It's terrible. But if you guys want to read my thoughts on, all the shows that I watch, as you guys know, I cover pretty much every single show. You guys can definitely go and check that out. And I'm always posting clips of interviews and just a bunch of different stuff on there. So you guys can definitely go ahead and check them out. And here we go. We got a brilliant comment from A Semper O Fidelis, who says, my comment is brilliant. All right, guys, here we go. Let's see. And actually, I'm going to read this comment just to put myself over. Haj Gulashi says, my Twitter is great. Yes, guys, my Twitter is great. All right, here we go. Let's move on. After this, holy cow, guys, it's time to talk about this. I don't even know where to begin. I needed a moment to gather my thoughts after this next segment. I needed a second. I was like, oh, shoot. Did Britt Baker really just go there? Hell yeah, she did, guys. Britt Baker had the line of the night. The line of the night, guys. I cannot emphasize this any more than I am doing right now. Britt Baker knocked my socks off. Britt Baker shot me to the moon. I don't even know, guys, but she really, I heard what she said, and I was like, did she just say that? I rewinded 2 times because the first time I rewinded it to make sure that I understood what she said. The second time I rewinded it again because I wanted to hear it again. So here we go, guys. We have this Britt Baker promo. She comes out and she starts, basically she's mad. So she's doing this backstage interview. She's doing this backstage interview with Tony Schiavone and with Reba. She's there. And she's basically saying that, that poor Reba was hurt, that she's an innocent person, that, good thing that they won last week's match, but, an innocent person got hurt, and that Tony Khan should feel terrible, that he should feel horrible because Britt Baker is the one that's bringing in millions of dollars to AEW, because Britt Baker is, bringing the ratings and she's the draw and blah, 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 right? And then she starts saying that Tony Khan can go get blood money from Saudi Arabia when they run AEW Dynamite there next week. She says, why don't you go run? Why don't you go run AEW Dynamite from Saudi Arabia next week? And I'm thinking, oh my God, Britt Baker just went there, guys. She went there and talked about, well, she mentioned Saudi Arabia. And obviously, everybody knows what that means and what she was, aiming towards throwing a shot at WWE because of, their relationship with Saudi Arabia and all of that. I don't need to explain this to you guys. You guys know. But the point is that Britt Baker, that girl has some balls because she totally went there. I thought that was fantastic. I think that Britt Baker is doing some of the best promos that in the last couple of months. She's been just going off, with these promos, and especially since becoming champion, she's gone to that next level. But with this, I just kind of felt like, okay, there is no holding back anymore. I feel like once you make a line like that, once you say something like this, there's no going back, guys. That's it. She crossed the line. It's great. I love it. I do think that Britt Baker, if she can have a reign that will hopefully go where no other woman has gone before. I think that she can raise the potential. She can do so much, guys. She really can. And you can see it. She can see it when she talks, when she comes out, the people love her. They pop for her, all of that. She's got a lot of good stuff going. And here's the thing is that she recognizes it, and she's smart, and she's pushing the envelope. And today, she's not in a match, right? She didn't even have to wrestle today, but you're talking about her because of the promo that she cut and obviously the things that she said. So I like this. I thought that was great, and it completely shook me, and I wasn't expecting this whatsoever at all. But here we go, guys. What did you think about this line about Saudi Arabia? Do you think she went too far? Did you love it? Send your thoughts. All right, we got a super chat. This one is from Nicholas Jacuz, who says, if MJF can pick anyone to wrestle, do you think he will pick someone from the inner circle? Could see him making Jericho face Sammy in a street fight. It would be interesting to essentially, but see, if they were to do the inner circle, they could fix it to where Jericho can just automatically win. So I don't think having him face members of the inner circle would probably be the best idea. I feel like chances are he's just going to face members of the Pinnacle. I feel like that's more of an option of where they might be going with this. But thank you so much to Nicholas for sending in this super chat. All right, guys, thoughts on what Britt Baker said about Saudi Arabia, but all of this. All right. We have a comment from Reductive92 who says, nothing but respect for my dentist. The Cooge97 says she went straight for the heart. Let's see what else we got here. Colette Adams says, hope Adam Cole doesn't get punished for this. And I'm seeing a lot of different stuff here, guys. I'm trying to pick out a few of these. Let's see what we got here. This is from QQ Going Pew Pew, who says Britt Baker is the best testament to AEW's booking, second only to Hangman, going from babyface who wasn't connecting to top star in a little over a year. Yeah, and Britt talked about that. Like immediately after winning the title, she talked about, all of the criticism that she was getting from the fans. And she said that while, obviously seeing that criticism hurts, criticism is the only way to grow, obviously. So she handled it like a boss, and you know what? She turned all of that criticism into, more people, loving and adoring her or whatever, So good for her. She definitely made people believe in her, at least a lot more people. And this is a comment from Tyler who says, Britt was spitting straight facts. I believe she is straight fire, excuse me. Tyler Wilson says, I believe she is the best women's wrestler in any promotion when it comes to promos, and that goes for WWE as well. Would love to see her take down Flair. I think in promo work right now for the women, definitely Britt Baker has the cake. And I'm even going to, honestly, as far as even comparing men and women, I would say that Britt Baker is up there with a lot of the men as well. Because today, to me, in my opinion, she had the most standout promo from anybody tonight. That's including MJF. That's including Chris Jericho. I think that Britt Baker had the promo of the night. And so with that being said, I don't feel like she's just one of the top women doing good promos. I think she's one of the top wrestlers doing good promos right now. So I do think that should be said as well, especially because, obviously, you're always seeing the comparison with men and men, women and women, but I do think that Britt Baker is crossing that barrier, has already crossed that barrier, excuse me. And let's see what else we got here. All right, guys, let's move on. But pretty much everybody here like this. Jack Hines says, I couldn't believe what I heard. I couldn't believe it either, guys. I could not believe it. All right, guys, let's move on from this. Afterwards, we had Andrade El Idolo versus Matt Sydal. This was Andrade's in-ring debut in AEW. And he comes in wearing a white pinstripe suit. He has this black mask. Looks badass. He has the Ingobernables look. That's money, and that's where he's the most comfortable, and I think that's where he thrives the best. I know a lot of people didn't like the whole slacks thing. In CMLL, when he would wear the slacks, he would then take them off, similar to Garza Jr., and so with the La Máscara, he would do that as well, too. So maybe I hope that he does do that. This was a quick match. Really nothing all that amazing. It was just fine. But we do see Andrade pick up the win. There really wasn't, honestly, besides his look, I don't really think there was much where I kind of feel like I want to rave about. But obviously the look is fantastic and it was an okay match. But let's see what you guys are saying here. This is a comment from IBN 1989 who says, this match was disappointing. I thought it would be better than that. Yeah, I think that if they were going to do something like this, they should have might as well have done a squash. But then at the same time, Matt Sydal's not some guy that you squash. But then it is kind of telling where they see Andrade on the, on the roster. This match didn't really scream anything that I should get excited about, which kind of bums me out because I want to see Andrade be the top star that I think he could be and that he clearly thinks that he could be on AEW. But I want to talk a little bit more about Andrade when we talk about Aleister because there are going to be some comparisons that I do want to make. But again, this match necessarily wasn't necessarily that great, okay? It's not necessarily that great. And let's see what else. I think I got mainly everything here. Let's go ahead and move on. Once again, guys, if you want to send in a super chat, you are more than welcome to. I will read your comment, question, or statement on the air. And I do get to keep 100% of the proceeds. So thank you very much. All right, guys, let's move on. All right. Okay, so quick. Next week, we are going to be seeing Christian Cage versus Matt Hardy on night 1 of Fyter Fest. That is going to be kind of interesting, mainly because it's Christian and Matt Hardy, and they've had so much history with their respective teams and one another in WWE, and here they are, X amount of years later, having a one-on-one match on AEW. So it's going to be a little bit of a mind trip there, but you know what? I'm looking forward to it. All right, and let's see what else we got here. So we had a okay, this is it, guys. Here we go. This is it. Everybody get ready. Let's jump on the seats because we're about to go on that roller coaster. Whew. This was what I was not. Okay, I don't even know where to begin. Where do I begin, guys? Where do I begin? So at the top of the show, we were talking about the lights out and how the lights went out during the Cody QT match. And, everybody, or at least most people or some people, definitely me, thought that there was some sort of production issue. Maybe I fell for that storm thing, whatever the case may be. I wasn't expecting this whatsoever. So Tony Schiavone is doing this interview with Arn Anderson, and I'm thinking, oh, this is kind of lame. Arn Anderson's like, oh, I'm so glad to be back in Miami, and woo-woo, fans again, yada yada. And I'm thinking, this is kind of boring, but I'm going to be nice about it. So I'm just watching, and then the lights go out again. And I'm like, oh, brother, AEW, this would happen to them. That's what I was thinking. I was like, man, this would happen to them. Man, I was like, I started to think they must have some bad luck or something. And then I started thinking, because this went on for a while. So I had time to think here because the lights were off for way longer than they were during the first time that they cut the lights out. And then I started thinking, you know what? It would be smart of AEW to turn this into something else. Like they should just have something happen, make it seem like it's part of the show so they won't look bad. So I started thinking that, I started thinking of ways that they could sort of save themselves because again, I was worked, everybody. I was definitely worked during this, okay? I fell for the whole lights thing. So with that being said, it was hella clever because when the lights came back on, we had Malachi Black, who was formerly known as Aleister Black in WWE, who was part of the recent releases. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen, on AEW television. And he comes out, he hits a black mass on Arn. Cody runs out, stares him down, but is met with a black mass himself. Excalibur then, obviously, because JR wasn't really sure like what they were going to be calling him, so he named him, he called him Tommy End a bunch of times, but then Excalibur basically says that he's going to be going by Malachi Black. So there was a little bit of like, oh, is it going to be Tommy End? Is it going to be Malachi Black? What's going on here? But it's Malachi Black from the looks of it. And I know that he had posted some stuff on social media. I didn't see any of it heading into the show, so I was just kind of like, all right, cool, like, this is Malachi Black. Awesome. This, I think, first of all, was a perfect way to bring him in. And the reason for that is it was unexpected. It was clever. I thought that they played it off really well. They didn't overdo the lights thing. They only had them cut off one time prior to this. And then a second time, that was it. I think had they done it a couple more times, I think a couple of people would have been like, all right, something's going on here. But the fact that they didn't overplay it, I think that it worked out a lot better doing it the second time. So I liked that. I really did. And then here's the thing too, is that Cody necessarily hasn't been in like the hottest, most talked about feuds as of late. He's needed some cooler stories, and I am so happy that Malachi Black, it's going to take a while to call him Malachi Black, by the way. I keep wanting to say Aleister Black, but Malachi Black, it's going to be cool to see Malachi Black, get into this story with Cody Rhodes. I think that Cody Rhodes needs the story, and this is the perfect way to kick off, his time here in AEW. And here's the thing too, and this is where I wanted to touch on with Andrade, but I feel so bad, but this debut on AEW, Malachi Black's debut was way cooler than Andrade's. It was way cooler than Miro's. So it kind of overshadowed, especially Andrade, since he just came into the company. I kind of feel like it outshadowed him just a little bit because his debut kind of felt just a little bit cooler. So that's kind of what I would get at with all of that. But what did you guys all make of this? Are you excited to see Malachi Black now on AEW? How do you feel about him working a program with Cody Rhodes? Did you guys fall for the lights thing? Send in your thoughts. All right, here we go. We got our first super chat in regards to this. This one is from Crifter C. Crifter says, fan reaction to Black was incredible. Yes, that was a great pop. Crifter then goes on to say, I won't forget that. It's awesome that we got Andrade's first AEW match and Tommy End's debut on the same night. Yeah, you're right. I didn't even put those two things together. You're right. Wow. Dang. Think about this, guys. Like literally at the top of the year, if we would have said that this was going to happen in July, I don't think any of us would have thought that this was going to happen or that this was going to be our new reality. It's just crazy how fast things change. Oh my God. All right. Let's see what else we got here, guys. I'm going to read more of your comments and let's see. What are you guys saying here? All right. Yeah. Okay. So Sticker Reds, just basically talks about how he revealed his name on social media, and let's see what else we have. This one's from Mr. EMJ, who says, Tommy End straight up played people. He made sure that fans weren't sure what he was doing next. Malachi Black will be a top hand for AEW by the end of 2021. I think that he definitely came in really, really strong, and I think it's going to stay. He definitely's got a lot of momentum. And here's the thing too, is that there wasn't even that much time since his release that went by. So I think it felt even more exciting to actually have him appear so closely after his release. And let's see what else we got here. All right, I'm going to try to see a couple more, and This one is from A. Semper, who says, I liked how the mic went off into the air, spinning after Anderson was kicked, made me buy the kick. Yeah, it was all really, really good stuff there, guys. Really, really good stuff. And Hal Haney says, is it still called the Black Mass, Denise? Did they call it the Black Mass on commentary? I don't know if, I don't recall if they called it that on commentary, but I'm calling it that. But I don't know if they're still calling it that. But for now, I'm still going to go with the Black Mass. All right, guys. We have a couple more super chats. This one is from Mark Warburton. Thank you so much for sending in the super chat, Mark. He says, Tommy N showing up on AEW, still selling his eye injury is next level. Great. Keep up the awesome work, Denise. Your energy and positivity rocks. Thank you so much, Mark. I really appreciate that. And yeah, the eye thing, he's still selling it. The guy's been selling it for months. And why the hell not? You should be. It makes sense to do that. Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Mark, for sending in the super chat. And again, it's something that I agree with as well. And let's see what else we got here. We have another super chat. This one is from Jamie Guillen, who says, would be nice to see Black versus Archer down the line. I hope they do it. I think that just visually, just on paper, it sounds awesome. I hope the match would be awesome. And that's the thing, is now you have all of these dream matches that you can have now. And that always happens whenever you see somebody new come into the company. You're like, ooh, I want to see him wrestle this person. I want to see him wrestle that person. So yeah, I get it here. And we have another super chat from Christopher Marino, who says, did you notice that Malachi Black still had the contact from the eye injury with Seth Rollins gave him? Again, that was just something that we talked about, him essentially still selling the eye. Fantastic stuff to do, guys. Really, really stuff to do there. So thank you so much to Christopher Marino for saying this. Oh, and then Keeman Weaver says they just called it a kick on commentary. Okay. Yeah, I think I was too excited about the whole thing that I didn't even focusing on that. Sam B says, Denise, you should check out Tommy N's promo segment he put out before the show. I'm definitely going to do that. Gerardo Alvarez says, Andrade having an okay match and having Black overshadow it worked out kind of, because everyone is only going to remember Malachi Black. Yeah, I see, but they could have two consecutive good things. So I think it did kind of hurt a little bit for Andrade. I did think it kind of hurt him a little bit there. And let's see what else we got here. This one is from Advi, who says, let's not forget that the person who inflicted the eye injury on Black was none other than Buddy Murphy. And I think I got quite a few. All right, guys. Again, if you're watching the replay of this video, feel free to go ahead and leave your thoughts in the comment section below on how you felt about Malachi Black. And let's go ahead and move on to the next topic here. But what a night, guys. What a night. I'm definitely looking forward to that, to whatever story they're going to tell with him and Cody Rhodes. Hey, it's Nathan89 points out that Buddy Murphy just made a mention of it on Twitter. Okay, I didn't see that either. I hate when stuff happens when I'm live on the air and I don't get to see nothing. All right, let's talk about really quickly Kris Statlander and Orange Cassidy versus the Bunny and the Blade. Second intergender match in AEW history after the Cody Red Velvet, Shaquille O'Neal, Jade match. This match was okay. I think this was kind of this was the kind of the match that let people settle in. There was so much excitement that happened, prior to this. This match was kind of getting you back a little grounded. I think this was probably my least favorite portion of the show. But I kind of needed a little bit of a break from all of the excitement that we saw. But anyway, so Cassidy gets Blade with a DDT. Statlander hits the 450 on Blade, almost gets a 3 count, but Bunny makes sure to end that. Blade ends up using the brass knuckles on Orange Cassidy, and he goes for the cover, but he isn't the legal man, so Statlander ends up hitting the Big Bang Theory on Bunny and gets the win. So Orange Cassidy and Kris Statlander end up winning this match. Again, really probably not much to add on that, but afterwards, we kind of had something pretty interesting go down here. And I thought this kind of added to what I mentioned earlier about, AEW Dynamite feeling very edgy and very cool today and sort of unexpected with a lot of, random stuff happening. And one of them was this next segment. So we had Amanda Nunes, who obviously, has this vast history of who she is. Then we also had Jorge Masvidal and Dan Lambert there. And Dan Lambert essentially ended up going on like this full-on promo, and it was so awesome. All right. So Dan, essentially, he runs an MMA gym called American Top Team. He was the manager for Bobby Lashley over on Impact Wrestling during Bobby Lashley's world title run with Impact Wrestling. Now he's doing stuff for MLW and is managing King Mo. He's a lifelong wrestling fan and an avid belt collector, like legitimately collects the coolest belts that you can think of, and legit ones as well. So anyways, he comes out and he cuts a hell of a promo. I mean, the energy this guy has, it's the energy that you like to see in professional wrestling. And so he comes out and he starts saying that he was skeptical about coming because AEW sucks. And he starts saying that, wrestling has gone down since the late 1990s. And then he starts saying that apparently Tony Khan was like, no, we do things differently here. And he starts putting over the talent, etc., etc. Then he says, I should have trusted my instincts, basically to say that AEW still sucks. But then Lance Archer comes out and punches him and hits him with the blackout. So it was just a fun, different segment there, and I really enjoyed it. I thought this was really cool, and Dan really, really made this kind of awesome and made the show feel very different. So I love that. I thought that was fantastic. Thank you so much to Cayman Weaver for sending in a super chat. Cayman didn't write in a comment, but Cayman, I appreciate you for sending in the super chat. I thank you so much for this. Thank you. Let's see what else we got here. So we got a comment from Wrestle War who says that Dan cut a heck of a promo, plugging his stuff, putting over AEW while pretending to bury it to set the payoff. Exactly. I think you nailed it there with that comment. And let's see what else we got here. Colette Adams says, thank you, Lance, for saving the segment. Dude, I love this segment. And this one was from Advi, who says, dude is pretty much playing a filtered version of modern day Jim Cornette. A lot of people were definitely making that comparison over on social media. We have a comment from Cayman who says, hear me out. Let Lance Archer and Dan Lambert be the AEW version of Kane and Pete Rose. Oh, man. And then let's see what else we got here. This is another comment from Advi who says that the segment blew her mind. This felt about shoot as shoot gets, but you can tell it was worked to a degree. And again, more people saying that he's playing Jim Cornette. Really good stuff, guys. Really, really good stuff there. I thought that was a really, really fun addition to the show. All right, guys. And here we go, guys. Let's move on. So a couple matches were announced for Fyter Fest next week. So we are going to have Brian Cage versus Ricky Starks for the FTW bout. We already knew that. We're going to have Sakazaki versus Penelope Ford. We're going to have Hangman Page coming out and talking about, I'm assuming he's going to talk about the events that went down with Kenny Omega next week. And so we got that also announced for next week as well. And let's get into the main event, everybody. We are almost done here. And we have the Young Bucks versus Penta El Cero Miedo and Eddie Kingston in a street fight for the AEW World Tag Team titles here, guys. Oh my God. These are the matches that I love, but also really stress me out because so much goes down that I'm just like, literally during the entire match, I'm like typing out like everything that's happening in this match, going ballistics, because if you watch this match, you know everything that went down here. This was very, very entertaining here. So here we go. We have the Young Bucks coming out. They come out with their denim shorts, their pink headbands, their pink shoes. Immediately, instantaneously. Obviously, it's a street fight. So we see them using trash cans. We see them using chairs. We see Kingston bring out a table, tears off the frame, tries to superplex Matt Jackson onto the table, but instead Matt power bombs him onto the table. We see Penta hit a destroyer onto Nick Jackson onto the table that was set up on the outside. That was a pretty badass spot. We see Kingston choking out the referee. We see Nick hit the 450 on the ref. We see a senton from Nick to Kingston. We see Penta hit a tope con hero on the Good Brothers. Kingston gets pinned, but there's no ref during this point because the ref was taken out. Then we see Kingston essentially bring out a bunch of thumbtacks. Afterwards, Matt throws the thumbtacks right into the eyes of Kingston, then Penta also gets thumbtacks thrown into his face. Then, I'm telling you guys, this was crazy. Then we also see the Young Bucks put thumbtacks in the mouth of Eddie Kingston, and they are eventually able to get the win here. And so the Young Bucks retain. And I'm going to tell you this right now. My recap of this match did not do this match justice, okay? If you did not watch this main event, go out of your way to watch it because they did so much here and it was so entertaining. And I mean, what can you say? All right, what can you say? When you're looking at this match, you're looking at who's going to be in this match. You have Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks. You have Penta. You have Eddie Kingston. What do you expect? It's going to be a good match. And especially add on top of that the street fight element to this. It's just crazy, guys. It's just crazy. I really enjoyed this main event. I thought it was a really cool way to sort of, wrap up the show with a pretty nice bow tie and just really, again, really add to the cool factor, the cool dynamic of AEW Dynamite tonight. So all in all, I just got to say it was good stuff. All right, guys, send in your thoughts here. I'm going to read a couple more comments and then wrap up this show. All right, here we go. Where do I even begin? This one is from the Keys Boo, who says, hopefully that thumbtack spot was the end of Penta's Joker gear. He looks better and more badass in all black. I like him in anything, so I'm okay with whatever he decides to wear here. Let's see what else. We got QQ Going Pew Pew says, I love the Young Bucks reign because with a few exceptions, I can almost always trick myself into thinking this might be the team they lose to. They got heat with me because they twice denied me Eddie with gold. I think the Young Bucks are definitely doing whatever it takes to get under the people's skin, and they are doing it in a good way here. And we have Mixed Partial Farts here who says Canadian Destroyer through the table of the apron was a spot of the night. I didn't even mention that. That was awesome too. I marked for that like crazy. I'm probably the last person. I don't care. I still mark out for the Canadian Destroyer each and every single time, especially onto a table. Of course, I'm going to mark out for that. Colette Adams says the Bucks throwing the thumbtacks to their faces was just too careless. Oh, I like that though. I thought that was pretty cool. And it's one of those things where you got to time it out perfectly. Make sure you close your eyes and your mouth because the last thing you want, well, obviously Kingston ended up getting the thumbtacks in the mouth, but the last thing you want is a normal human being, if you're not Eddie Kingston, is thumbtacks near your eyes or your mouth, okay? So there you go. We have another super chat. Thank you so much to Bailar Lasagna, who says, Eddie Kingston is the most uplifting story in wrestling today. I've seen him wrestle for Chikara Championship in front of 100 people. You can't help but root for him. Dude, he was one of those people that, like, when he came into the company, I just remember so many people being like, yes, finally, Eddie Kingston is getting the attention, the recognition that he deserves on this level, with a promotion like AEW. And so I can't, like, a lot of people, every time they go to AEW, they get the congratulatory, tweets and comments and all of that, et cetera, et cetera. But with Eddie Kingston, I think it was one of those where, like, it was times 10, like whatever congratulations normal people get, Eddie Kingston's was like times 10 of the comments that he got and people genuinely being happy for the guy. So I do think that that is definitely, like you said, an uplifting story in wrestling. Thank you so much to Bailar Lasagna for sending in this super chat. I thank you very, very much for sending this in. We have a comment from Bloody Blues who says, great show full of excitement and storytelling. Next week's card, it looks like it's going to be awesome. What a time to be a wrestling fan. I think that is probably the best way to end this night. What a night, what a time to be a wrestling fan, guys. There is so much happening just all across the board. Lots to be excited about. So, guys, reminder, if you haven't tuned into any of my past shows, make sure to pencil me in. I'm on right after NXT on Tuesdays. I'm on immediately after AEW Dynamite. If you enjoyed this show, you will definitely enjoy some of the other ones as well. And then Friday, I am on immediately after Smackdown. So it's just a really cool place to come and chat, with myself and the people in the chat, make some friends, make some wrestling friends. I only got I have like 5 real life wrestling friends in my life. I don't know how many of you guys have, but I feel like we can always use more, definitely more wrestling friends on the internet, but you can always make some more wrestling friends online. That's always really fun. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Do not forget to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and or on Instagram @_ Denise Salcedo. We actually have one more super chat that I'm going to read, so don't go anywhere. We have one from Angel Gonzalez who says, just wanted to say thank you, Denise. You've been a big part of the pandemic, and now seems a great time to say thanks as we move. Thanks as we move out of it. Also, Selena, thank you so much, Angel Gonzalez, for sending in this very, very kind super chat. I really appreciate it. I can't even begin to express all of the things that have happened to me during during this time where, I can't say that everything was horrible, because it wasn't, because I got to do all of these shows and, build a family here with all of the viewers here. So it's been really, really great to say that, I started with one show once a week, and then I got, a couple more added onto that. And it's been really great to just be on here and chat with you guys about something that we all love. So thank you so much to Angel Gonzalez. And with that, we wrap up the night, everybody. Give this video a like, leave a comment to help those analytics and the algorithm. And we'll see you guys. I'll see you guys on Friday for SmackDown. Bye, everyone. Take care.